Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. Here to help you break through the fears, live an amazing life. And there's a lot of fear out there right now. So I wanted to bring back a very special guest, very good friend of mine and my astrologist, and that's Wendy Cicchetti. But I have to just tell you, she just did my reading before we got on here, and we had such a great talk. I said, we got to get on and share this with you guys so you're going to be really happy with me because we've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. She's going to share her, let's just say, wisdom and her talents and skills with you about what is to come as far as an energetic level. We'll discuss that. What's going to come after that, what we can do with it, because as you know, everything's free will and we are in control. I know we don't want to think that at times, but I want to share something I said to Wendy just before we got on. I said, I just wish somebody would come in here, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, and then do it for me. And I want to share that because I wanted everyone to realize that even people that are very clear about their direction and, seem to, not deal with those issues, we all just want a break once in a while. And all of us right now, we're feeling like we need a break and we want somebody to tell us it's going to be okay and that we're going to have a job or finances or relationships or whatever it is. We all want that. That's why we see psychics. But we're going to talk about that today because I want you to know that whatever she's going to share, you're always in control, and we're going to talk to you about how you can use that. So welcome, Wendy.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah, so I wanted to just open it up to you, and because we actually got into this discussion about what's coming and how we work with the people, all of you out there to help guide you and take you to a place where you can manage all of the challenges, because we all signed up for this. I know, what were we thinking, right? But we're here, and I want you to really take advantage of this, because whatever you do, especially now, is going to determine everything in your life from this moment forward. And I mean moment to moment. You can change anything. You're the director of your path and your ending, and there is no ending. But we want to use this super challenging time to evolve. That is one of the amazing things about planet Earth. If you want to evolve quickly, come here, because it's the master teaching planet. And that's what makes it so amazing and so very, very difficult. So Wendy, why don't you just take the ball and run with it as far as what are you seeing as far as, how the planets are aligning? What does it mean now? And what can we expect for this year and beyond? Just a small question, right? Tell us the future of the planet.
Tell us the
5
future.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because, people thought that after 220, oh, phew, it'd be over. No. It's not over. And the underlying themes for this year and what happened last year are important. Okay. This is a time where the most important planets are Mars, Uranus, and Saturn right now. Okay. And their impact on us individually and their impact on the planet. Now, as we saw back in 220, we had Mars in June go into the sign of Aries, its home. It was very powerful, very aggressive, angry, all of that energy. And it went forward across that stellium in Capricorn. Okay. The Mars, the Pluto, the Saturn and the Jupiter. So Mars was square, all of that. And then Mars got up here and went retrograde. And so it went back over all of that stuff again. Now Mars is
explain for people like myself who are really clueless when it comes to this. When you say Mars went into this and then went retrograde, what does that mean for us? I mean, what kind of effect does it have?
It's an energy.
Okay.
Mars in Aries, its home, is a very strong, powerful, aggressive energy. It's impulsive, it's impatient, And it has to do with war, it has to do with anger, it has to do with vitriol, all the stuff that we've been seeing out there. That's the aggressive energy of Mars. And so Mars went over at once. Mars is usually in a sign for about a month, but it went retrograde in Aries. And so it backed up and went back, squared all of those planets again, all of that warlike stellium went over all of those again. And then it went direct again, and it went over all of them again.
Wow.
And so we had this warlike energy that was permeating everything in our civilizations. Okay. Aggressive, control, warlike energy. Okay.
Okay.
And so we were feeling that. Everybody was feeling that aggression. And that's what causes a lot of the fear too, as we sense those energies. And, you know, we've been on lockdown as a planet pretty much for a year. And, you know, we're fearful. We don't know what's coming. Now, what I do have to tell you, the good news,
Yay.
it's going to be painful, but it's good news. And Mars was the huge energy in 2020. And also, you might be interested to know that Mars is the ruler of diseases.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And so in 2021, there is going to be a square of Saturn and Uranus. And it's going to be in orb of influence for the entire year.
Okay.
Okay. The first exact point is going to be on February 17th. The second will be in June 14th when Saturn is retrograde. And then the third will be December 23rd. Now, those are the time when it is exact, but there's an orb of influence before and after. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be impacting. Now, let's talk about what those planets mean. Saturn is the structure of the world, the government, religion, big business. That's our structure of how we live. Okay. And we know it's gotten out of control. Uranus, square that, is like chipping away at it.
Okay.
Creating chaos. It's like, okay, we're not doing this status quo anymore. Uranus is the rule breaker. Okay. Saturn is the old. Uranus is the new.
Okay.
Okay. And so we see that the old is dying out. It has to. It's no longer effective. In fact, it's hurting the planet. It isn't helping the planet or its inhabitants. Okay. So this Uranian rebellion, this rule breaker, is hitting Saturn. Going, not doing it anymore. Okay. And that's going to be this whole year. So there isn't going to be any main stability coming. We think, oh, okay, we have a new president. We're going to get stable again. We're going to create, go back to the old systems. It isn't going to happen. No. Also, we had that warlike stellium that we had talked about before, which is the Capricorn or the Pluto, the Saturn, and the Jupiter in Capricorn. Well, now on the 21st of December, Jupiter and Saturn went into the sign of Aquarius, and they left behind Pluto in Capricorn.
It was
Pluto.
quite a little laugh there. Yeah.
I know. People think, oh, okay, we're going into the age of Aquarius. We're not done with the Capricorn.
Yes.
Okay. Pluto moves into Capricorn every 250 years or approximately. And that means the restructuring of the governmental bodies or structures on the planet. Now, it went in 2008, and look what happened to the financial markets in 2008.
Yes.
Everything tumbled. Okay, so Pluto has done a lot of good work with the death of the old and the birth of the new, but it's got 4 more years of that work to do to get rid of. I know. I know. But here's
into a deep sleep. No, no, we're all here for this, right? Come
All
on,
right,
we can
here,
do it.
here's the good news, okay? Saturn and Jupiter are now in Aquarius, higher mind functions, ruled by Uranus, good ideas, brainiac stuff. We're going to come up with futuristic, great, unusual ideas.
Yes.
Now, that is a precursor to the age of Aquarius. We're not solidly in the age of Aquarius yet. These planets moving into Aquarius is the precursor. Now, in February, we'll have 5 planets in Aquarius. Hello.
Wow.
Okay. And that means we got to be putting our thinking caps on and really start creating new stuff. Now,
Love it.
Mercury goes retrograde on the 29th in Aquarius.
29th of February or January?
January. Mercury's
This video is January, so it's going to be old very quickly. So I'll post it so that
yes.
Yeah.
So it's going retrograde on the 29th in Aquarius. So Mercury's backing up now, going and communicating, which is what Mercury does, on about all of those other planets that are in Aquarius.
Okay.
So they're going all the way back over it. And then when it goes direct, it's going to go all the way back over it again. Before it moves forward. So the push is the Aquarian perspective. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it's all about the higher mind functions. And it's all about quick and sudden changes.
Wow.
It's like lightning strikes. Mars is the trigger that creates a lot of the difficulty, but Aquarian energy is the rule breaker. Okay. And so we got to break some rules. And
Gotta break some rules. Okay, I like that.
now, okay, let me give you a little historical perspective. Back, and I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. Pluto went into the sign of Capricorn in the 1500s. And that was there when Martin Luther gave his document and his ideas about how things should be for people in terms of religion and government. And that was during Pluto in Capricorn. Now, that reverberation from the Protestant Reformation, we still utilize today.
Wow.
Okay. These are important decisions. It's like taking a pebble and throwing it out into the waters of the cosmos and seeing the ripple effect for thousands of years, hundreds of years. These are not insignificant times, nor are these insignificant ideas that will be coming up. They will impact this planet for many, many generations to come. And people say, oh, well, we didn't feel anything on that day. We didn't. So much of it's just energetic. What's happening in our psyches that helps us with that. Now, 250 years ago, Pluto again moved into the sign of Capricorn, and that's when we left England. Okay. It's endings and it's
Sorry about our British friends out there. When we say we, we're talking about Americans. But
Pluto in Capricorn gives us the impetus to change things that aren't working. The death of the old structure, the birth of the new structure. Now, in 2024 and the beginnings of 2025, Pluto is moving into the sign of Aquarius.
Okay.
We're just getting that Aquarian energy right now and getting used to the fact that this is what's going to be working for us, are the ideas, the Aquarian ideas. All right. So, but during 2021, when you've got Saturn square Uranus, it's like a pressure cooker. Ooh. The pressure is building. Uranus wants to move forward, and Saturn says, nope, not yet. Nope, I'm blocking it. Not yet. That means that the structure, the governmental structures, not just here, but around the globe, are not yet ready to dissolve completely. So there is this period of time in between of adjustments and change and more adjustments and change. Like we were talking about, we, of course, are in the business of helping people. We want to help people be able to navigate through all of this, but it's very difficult to find something concrete. It may work for a little while, but then things will
Right.
change a little more. And so we're constantly having to evolve, live in the moment, and structure our work and our lives based on what's going on in the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this is interesting that you said this because, and I think I mentioned this when we were on our call before. Um, I have been really picking up on the confusion, the side taking, the splits, which is this is what we all talked about for years before this happened. And that is there's going to come a time when things are going to appear a certain way, which is the old structures, and we have to stop behaving the same way and
Right.
start making some higher decisions. And this is when we get tested. These are tests. And so what I was picking up on, especially for 2021, is that you are all wanting quick, like you're talking about, quick, short answers because things are shifting so quickly and there's so much going on at all the time. Whereas I've had these long-term courses and we work on things, and I'm finding that people out there, and you probably have sensed this yourself, right? Is that we want to just compartmentalize what do I need to do now to accomplish my goals? How can I achieve certain things in my life now? Because things are shifting so quickly, and we're trying to cater to all of you to do that because every moment that you make a decision is going to impact that next moment and that next moment and things are speeding up. I know all of you have been feeling this, and and just things are happening, aligning with the planets. Also, I want to talk about, we just went through the December 21, 20, was it 21? 12,
Yeah.
21, 20,
No,
that whole, here we go again. And we talked about that, and that is, it seems like there are a lot of really bizarre alignments with the planets that haven't happened in a very long time, right?
exactly.
So what does that mean? It just is that it intensifies the energy fields out there, right? It's just an
Right.
intensification of what these planets mean and their relationship to each other and how it affects us. Is
Right.
that, yeah? And
Exactly.
and
So,
and, and so, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
well, when a planet, say, like moves into a different sign, like Mars moved out of the sign of Aries and moved into the sign of Taurus on January 6th, that was the day of the Capitol invasion.
Yes.
And Mars also was
Wow.
in aspect to Uranus at that time. So they work with the psyche. Okay.
Like you said,
It's not
boiling points and the
right. People get to the boiling point.
yeah.
They feel frustrated. They feel like they're in a pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm.
And what people have to understand, and I think you've addressed this subject before, which is it isn't going to matter who's in the presidency. It isn't going to matter globally who are running those countries because the changes are going to come, whether
Yes.
we like them or not.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who's holding an office.
Right.
Okay. Now, the only countries that will not have to change are those countries who are already doing it right.
And they're out there.
Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, those countries take care of their people. Yes, they are a lot smaller than our country, but their leaders understand the need to take care of their people.
Yeah.
And they are in a position to just be able to move forward
Yeah.
because they're doing things the way they should do them.
Now, I just want to state, because I know some of you, I know some especially from Sweden, and I lived in Sweden. If you guys don't know this, my family's from Finland and Sweden, primarily Finland, and they're the most peaceful, loving people, and it comes with its issues too.
Sure.
And I know those of you in Sweden have said things about, what's going on in power there. It's not without its own problems, but we're just saying there is not an extreme shift or imbalance that has gone in a way that was never meant to be. And I think, especially here in the United States, we just talked about this, like how things were meant to be so great, and that mentality we talked about, capitalism, things like that, was meant to, get the economy flourishing, has somehow shifted into an abuse of powers. And that is not about, a side or a political party. That's about, these are individuals. And I want you guys to always remember, everything comes down to an individual. It's not a color or a culture or a country or anything else. And we're going to have to start thinking now as individuals, solving global problems that changes the behavior that's been in place. That doesn't work, and that's painful. And we're going through that right now. So, this is when we got to buckle down and say, this is going to be so uncomfortable. But weren't we anyways? We were just sort of numb to it. We were numb and accepted what we were told. And I'm so proud of all of you for signing up for this really tough assignment of being a part of this shift. But now you have to make decisions about what's happening, because we have all these energies aligning up and saying, this stuff is impacting us big time. It is affecting us. And then now we all still have individual decisions. So I want you to know, whatever Wendy's sharing with you right now doesn't mean that you are going to go down a specific path and that's how things are. You just have choices within it. So let's talk about the individual choice within this massive thing that's going on.
This Mercury retrograde coming up in Aquarius is a really good time to formulate some good positive ideas for your life. Okay. You're seeing, maybe the writing on the wall in certain areas. Utilize that energy. That energy is that of communication. All right. And we don't want to activate ideas during a retrograde, but we want to rethink things.
Yes.
That's what you need to be doing, is rethinking maybe the parts of your life that aren't working, and what can you do to move forward? Who can you contact to get ideas from? Because ideas are the name of the game right now.
Now, I want you guys to understand this, because Wendy had asked me earlier, like, have your psychic abilities been more powerful? And I said, I haven't really noticed that, because because what I do for a living, I open and accept it. I think most people that go out into the matrix are recognizing their psychic abilities more because they haven't been tapping into it. So maybe that's why I'm not feeling like, that there's much of a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want you guys to know that, you have the ability now, through all of these amazing openings, like she's talking about, creativity, writing. Now, what have I been saying for, like, it's funny you're saying this, because my videos, I keep telling everybody, we've got to step out of what we've been doing and write and, create songs or teach things, or especially in areas where you're passionate about. And the answers are there, because the cosmos, the ethers, the quantum field holds all inventions, all ideas, all creativity, and it doesn't discriminate. It's there for the picking. You just got to go out. But if you're still in this matrix trying to make that job work or that relation work, and still thinking that, are those in power, it has to be a certain way, you're going to be stuck in that old world matrix, fighting it, like she's saying, this battle going on. I want you guys to start getting out of that box. It's going to be really uncomfortable, but it's not as uncomfortable as staying in a situation that doesn't work, right?
Productive, any longer. And Mars, through the course of 2021, is going to continue to trigger things. Okay. So, when something happens that might blow our mind, okay, or we're going to get information about, how are you going to allow it to trigger you? So, are you going to go fighting in the streets, or are you going to sit back and observe and use your discernment?
And this is the shift of the new or the old earth. This is the split, is that decision you make about what's going on, because those decisions, like you just said, are, the density is based on the material world, and we think that we are these finite bodies when we realize that we are so much more. And it's tough to break away and realize that we're so much more powerful, we're so much greater than this. And so that shift, that mind shift, what we were talking about, the homeless, it's become so prevalent. It's always been here, but now it's in our face and saying this should never exist, these situations should never exist. And are we going to be the solution? Because what Wendy shared earlier with me is, you know, there's so much out there, so much that we can pull on that's creative and life changing for the planet and for yourselves. So I want you guys to know right now that you have so much power right now, and it's right there in your face to start making
Yeah.
higher, beautiful decisions, and your life's going to be impacted in the most positive way. And
Yes.
and take you through these times. So how long are we talking about going through that? Yeah, okay, go ahead, say it.
It's not going to be quick. When these outer planets do their dances and their communications with each other, it takes a while. So a lot of this stuff isn't going to be resolved until 2025, late
Yeah,
2024 and 25. But in every challenge, there's a gift. Don't ever forget that.
yeah,
So when these challenges come and you're making changes, you look for the gift. Okay, what is the gift in this for me?
yes,
How do I turn this around? How do I flip it
yeah,
and make it a positive rather than a negative? And that's what we all need to do. We got to take the sides off the box. We
yeah,
can't look at anything the way we've looked at it before and say, I'm open. I'm willing to see things differently.
yes,
I surrender to the highest good. What is it that I can do to empower people, empower myself to move forward in a very positive way? There's always going to be this vitriol, this third dimensional arguing, fighting, war crap. Okay.
thank
That's
you.
just what it is. You do not have to participate. You do not have to be polarized by it.
Thank you.
Rise above it. And that's why I always recommend to people that they don't allow themselves to get all emotionally involved. They sit back, they use their intuition and their discernment, and then they move forward in a way that's helpful to them.
Yeah.
Going out and fighting in the streets is not helpful for anybody. When you argue, when you fight, you lose your audience.
Yes, yes,
It's that simple.
yes.
And so you're kind. You're kind and gentle with yourself. You're loving with your neighbor. You listen.
Conflict is very uncomfortable for anything. If you, as a child, if you've ever heard your parents argue, that is one of the most disturbing feelings. Do you ever remember what the arguments were about? You just remember how it felt as a child to see any kind of conflict with people that you loved. And that's what's going on the planet right now. We've got to start tuning into that as not just individuals, but as a community, realize whatever you're doing affects everything and everyone, not just on this planet, beyond, and it's beyond human comprehension.
Mhm.
But I wanted to share with you guys that, and Wendy and I are going to we're going to do like this every quarter, because I know you guys love this. I know some of you want an answer. You want us to tell you how things are going to be. I'm going to just share something that I said in the last time Wendy and I spoke, is that Nostradamus was not a fortune teller. He was just a seer of what could be. He actually said that. He wasn't predicting the future. He was telling us what could be if we didn't change our ways. Most of Nostradamus' predictions never came to pass, not because he wasn't good, but because we changed that future. And so everything that Wendy talks about, including, and we'll have you, I'll give all your information before we leave here. When you go to anybody else for answers, just remember, this is what exists now according to what somebody may have talents to see or share with you. And what you do with it is absolutely 100% in your control. And this is a turning point for us, a huge one. And so I just want you guys to know you did sign up for this. I know it's tough to imagine that we did. I told Wendy, I said, I would never want to be younger than I am now because I don't want to be on this planet that much longer. You know, my family lives to be in their hundreds, so I'm sort of screwed. You know, I might be here for a while. That's okay. I'm going to keep doing my job, and every one of you should do that.
And
but, yes.
that brings that point. Everybody needs to be switching to doing something they love. If you do not love what you do, change it, because you cannot bring about the positive 5D energy that this planet is trying to shift us to if every day you hate what you do.
Yes.
Because that's in the third dimension.
Yes. And just so you know, we've talked about the fifth dimension. We are actually already going into it. We've been in it, and it's a personal thing. So people say, well, have we gone into it? And I said, I don't know. Have you? Because if you see the world, and you can see the world differently, despite what's going on. So people think 5D means that they're not going to see the arguing and destruction. You'll see it differently. So you're shifting to a higher frequency, and you have a major effect on the collective. So everybody's thinking that we all go over, and that's very, that's dense human thinking. There are multiple frequencies beyond our imagination, multiple dimensions and timelines, all at the same time. You can shift at every moment. And so all the energies that Wendy talks about are opportunities, part of the game that we came here to master and say, what are you going to do with it? Right?
Well, these energies are forcing us to change. Okay. There's not going to be any question about that. It's forcing us. Now, it's the polarization that's the issue, which is those moving up here to 5D and those determining to stay down and be involved in the vitriol. One very powerful scripture in the Bible where Christ says, agree with thine adversary quickly. If you agree without agreeing, if you understand what I'm saying, if you say something to the effect that, thank you for sharing that with me, I'll give it some thought.
He didn't say believe what your adversary is.
Agree. And so when you say to someone, thank you for sharing, I'll think about that.
Yes.
I appreciate it. And then you go your way. You've taken all the heat out of the argument.
Yes.
Okay. And you go your way and do your thing. You don't have to be bullied into a side.
And so think about this. If you guys, we don't have these anymore right now, but if you go to a cocktail party, I do have friends over, very few, but we isolate ourselves. We get into these amazing, wonderful, I think I've never had more amazing discussions with my friends than I have had now. I see what's happening out there is pushing some of my friends who would never even watch my channel, don't even know what I do for a living, are now talking the talk and living it because they've been pushed to go into this space. And I look at how diverse we are. Now, would you want everybody to think the way you do, have your skin color and do no, but yet we still operate that way. And I want you to understand the diversity is so beautiful. And that is what Wendy just quoted is like, to agree is to say, I respect you because you are me and you're another facet of all the things I can be and think and express. If we do it in peace, we become expansive and beautiful and we celebrate each other's differences. Right.
Instead of this fighting, yelling, screaming, throwing, tossing, and you've lost your audience already anyway.
Exactly.
Why even on?
Yeah.
People will only listen to you when you're kind and respectful.
Yes.
Going to listen to you if you're yelling and screaming.
Yes, and when you get into these situations, and this is when it's going to be so important for us we're talking about like things happening so quickly in the moment right now is going to keep shifting us either into higher or lower frequencies. This is how quick things are happening right now.
Yes.
Your response is the only thing you need to be thinking about right now. Not what they said, not what's going on. What's my response? Is it judgment? Is it opposition? Is it argument? Or am I going to see that this is how we've been functioning, and that I have to just be an observer sometimes, and then go into a space of, solutions in the most peaceful way, because that's the new earth, my friends. And we are, oh gosh, what'd you say, 2025?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a flash in the pan. We've been fighting for centuries.
What you have to understand
Yeah,
is people take time to change. You can't expect
4
people to
years.
grasp everything.
Yeah.
It takes years for people to change and to grasp these new things that are happening, especially older people, because they're so, programmed into the density and into the media and all of that stuff. One of the best things people can do is turn off the media,
Thank you.
because it's designed to rile you up. There's a lot of mind control going on there, and it's not productive. And I've had clients say, once I got off social media and stopped listening to the news, happiness returned to my life.
Yeah. Yes, and it's tough because it's addictive, and you will tell yourself stories. The ego will tell you a story why you have to watch it. I'm being informed. No, you're not being informed. Let's stop playing games with ourselves and make some very difficult decisions, because breaking those patterns. And Wendy and I were talking, because with the baby boomer set, where like we were saying earlier, capitalism seemed like a good thing, was building an economy, but then it went to another completely different place. I actually watched a channel called Decades here. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. They show Dick Van Dyke and all these other shows, when in the 50s and 60s, where Rob and Laura Petrie and Dick Van Dyke show wouldn't even sit on the same bed. They weren't allowed to, they weren't allowed to do certain things.
Beds.
Yeah, a lot of restrictions. Yeah, it wasn't healthy, but at the same time, we were never exposed to the extreme violence and negativity that. Right. We were never exposed to any of that. And I think that was a good thing. Now, that was not a realistic world, but I think we've gone to such an extreme right now, and we have to protect ourselves. So what I want to talk, we're going to keep this going, because I know you guys love it when I talk to Wendy. I'm going to just mention a few things before we go, because maybe we'll do this next month, Wendy. Maybe we need to I think we're going to do small bites again. We got to do this quick stuff. So I think maybe in February, we'll do another update. I'm going to just mention a couple things. First of all, let go all your ideas about what anything is, and open up your mind, right? Let go. I am doing a special, if you're seeing this, it's going to be old really quick. Every month I have a miracle circle. This is when we use the power of the many. And I'm doing 2-hour monthly webinars with you live. And then I put it into the portal where you can access it unlimited forever. That gives you practices, because I want to keep you guys on track, and you've got to do the work. It's like Wendy just said, shut down the negativity will change your life, but then go to the teachers, go to the people that are going to help guide you, because that's our role here. And then I also have, and I just released this Move Past Fear, and that is, I think, January 30th. It's $14.95, because I wanted everybody to be able to afford it. It's an hour of us just hammering out how to stay sane, giving you practices live with me, Q&A, and you will get the replay. So I'm going to have that link also. But what I want to do is give Wendy's information, and you'll have to go in the description to get this. I'm going to have Wendy's email. And Wendy, okay, I know we didn't talk to you about this beforehand, but would you please give a discount to my subscribers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 50% off on the full initial reading, which is what I recommend people do.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, just so you guys know, you don't have to, but it's going to really help her a lot. Give the exact place, date of birth, and time. I actually had to find my baby book. I didn't know I was born at 6:35 a.m. Right? And it helped her because she really does hone it down that specifically. And
having a correct birth time has everything to do with accuracy. If you don't have that correct birth time, because the birth time calculates your rising sign and gets everything to line up where it's supposed to be. And without that, it's guessing.
well, what's interesting is I am Pisces. I know, I told you guys are always trying to guess. I should, I usually don't tell anybody what I am, like, don't put me in a box, because I was never really a typical Pisces. And so when I gave this information to her, she was able to say that I had all these other influences going on. And if I hadn't given her that information, she wouldn't have known. And then when she spoke to me, then it started to sound more like me and my personality and all these other things. So make sure you have that information. Don't wait to book her to get it, because she is really booked up. And but get on that right away so that you can get a more accurate reading. You'll get the 50% off. So I'll put it down in the information. And then I think we need to do this again in February. And yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it will be good maybe doing it after the retrograde, which ends on the 20th of February.
Perfect. We'll do it at the end of February. Yeah. And so wait a minute, just before we go, so what can we expect in the retrograde, as far as, because people are saying, I didn't feel anything, but like, what does it mean energetically for the planet?
Well, we know that Mercury retrograde gives us issues with communication, okay, and delays in communication. And so when you work with a Mercury retrograde, in general, you want to be thinking about new ideas, new approaches, rethinking things. For the country, however, for the world, this Mercury in Aquarius, the Mercury in the sign of Aquarius going retrograde, that is extremely important in terms of the information that we're going to receive from the collective. What new information is coming down the pike? Now, we have a difficult situation with media, and that's because the media is controlled by corporations, and they're told what they can say and what they can't. So if something really powerful comes out that might be damning to somebody who is important to those corporations, they're not going to report it. And that's what bothers me so much, is there's so much information out there, but are they reporting it? And oftentimes you have to go to an alternate media source that's not part of the big conglomerate to be able to hear some of these things.
Now, I love that you brought that up, because here's what I suggest. And we talked about pulling ideas and creating our own environment and not looking to others always to, like I said, tell me what to do and when to do it and execute. Like, I'm in charge. So maybe I can do something so amazing that I never imagined, because I really hold that power. You hold this power. So you guys have seen me promote the heck out of my, like, oh no, it's over here, internet training. Why? Because I want to give you the tools to make amazing decisions to create things. What if you started to create some things and communities and, all kinds of positive, it doesn't have to be global, platforms that could really bring positive messages to the world, and not try and taint anybody to any one direction, but just empower them. We have to start doing that more and more. So, right. And so I love that. Watch what you're looking at out there. I'm not sure why we need to watch any of that. Start creating your own news. Be the news, be the change. It's all really positive.
Want to get out of that third dimensional crap.
Thank you.
It's just not helpful. People get addicted to it. They're just like
Yeah.
listening all day long to all of this nonsense.
Yes.
And it's harmful. Um, Two things that are important before we close this one, is part of the human condition is that we don't do anything unless we're in pain or uncomfortable.
Yes.
We don't have choices. We have to get, and of course, God, the universe understands that, which is why we have these planetary bodies shifting and bringing on patterns of pain. So we as an individual will make better choices and put ourselves in a better place,
Right.
move forward. So we all have to, with this uncomfortable situation, figure out what we need to do to improve our lives, the choices that we're going to make, number one. Number two, what you talked about before with our responses, your ability to choose how you respond is your greatest place of power. And I'm writing a book about that, by the way. And when you feel that you feel the emotions starting to rise and you're starting to get, frustrated, that's where your power is. You push it back down
Mm-hmm.
and you do not respond until you have figured out a more productive way
Yes.
to respond. Sometimes it takes only a second where
Yes.
you go, oh, I'm not going to follow the habitual response patterns anymore.
Right.
I'm going to think about it and I'm going to respond in a different way. Like what I said about, agree with thine adversary quickly. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't help me to be angry. I choose to respond in a way that will show respect, show kindness, improve the frequency to a 5D rather than the 3D. So please, if I could implore you to do anything, it's to take control of your responses.
Now, I want to just say something because I love that. If that statement that she just made riles you up, you're still thinking from the ego, because only the ego needs to have control and has to be right.
And validation.
Yes. So to agree would be, I'm not going to, I'm giving up. And that is what we must give up. And that's going to be the most challenging thing you're ever going to have to do, is to come into a place of peace that, again, the subject matter is irrelevant. And it's the battle that causes the controversy. And so when we let it go, it's, you know what, on your deathbed, like I said, you don't remember what your parents were arguing about. You just remember that there was conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just go into a place of peace? This is going to be the most challenging time for you.
Well,
yeah.
When you find peace at a time like this in the world, and these are extraordinary times astrologically, for sure. We haven't had anything rival this since probably the Great Depression. But when you find that peace, which is the true measure of success, is peace of mind.
Yeah.
It is in a situation like this, the peace that passeth all understanding.
Yes.
And that is so powerful. You just have it.
Yeah.
In amidst all the chaos, you are at peace.
Yes.
You know you're fine and you don't have to get riled up. And that's why it surpasses all the understanding, is because by all respects, you should be out there creating mayhem.
And
Yeah.
I love that, because awakening means that you don't have to have the answers. You don't need them anymore. And then, like, the statement is all understanding. In other words, we as humans can't possibly understand. So when you go into that place of peace, nothing anybody can say or do to you
Is
can
going to take you out of it.
can take you into
Yeah.
any negativity, because you only see another part of you that is beautiful and perfect. And that is how we are viewed by the one. And when you connect to that, your world is going to rock. And we're going to show you how to do that. So Wendy, this was so much fun, and we could go on for hours.
I
So
know.
people are like, you guys need a podcast. And I'm like, I have another plan. I'm going to announce this, and I haven't shared this with you, Wendy, but I'm going to announce this next month, that I actually have something planned that's being developed for me right now that will allow you to access much longer podcast kind of platforms where Wendy and I could just talk for a couple hours, and and you guys can put on the earbuds and do whatever. But thank you. You know, I love you. We have developed such a really fun relationship through the years. And if you haven't watched the other video with Wendy, I suggest you go see it, because it was before a lot of things happened.
Right.
And we discussed a lot of the stuff and our relationship and how we met. I actually talked about some of the things that she told me when I didn't know who she was, and I was introduced to her. Some of the things that she told me that I swore never in a million years could possibly happen actually did happen. And maybe we'll have to talk about that next time.
Yes, well, it totally changed your life. You are
totally. Yeah, this was when I was investment banker. This is how long I've known her. I was like, that's never gonna happen.
Never say never.
Right? Never say never. All things are possible. So blessings to all of you. And I send my love. Again, contact Wendy. Oh, by the way, if you want the discount, tell her Landria sent you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, otherwise, you know, she won't know to get the discount. And then, of course, I'm going to have the links to my upcoming Miracle Circle and my Move Past Fear to help you. We want to be here. This is what we do for a living. It is our mission. Blessings to all of you guys. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you. Namaste. Bye.
Luck to everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.